Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome back to another beta recap. This week we have some very exciting stuff to talk about. Now I'm a little bit late with this video, I'm recording this on the Monday. However, because of that we have some very exciting things, additional things to talk about, including some more stuff about, we finally have some spoilers for the Space Age Titan, the next age. And we also have some stackable units. Ooh, interesting. But more on that later on in the spoiler section. As usual, you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead if you want. But before I get to the spoilers, let me quickly talk about the changelog and some other changes this week on the already released features. Alright, so from the changelogs, don't really want to talk about this too much, there's not really a lot happening. I do want to mention this though. In GVG, defeating or deleting a siege on a sector that should be blacked out did not black it out, and allowed guilds to siege beach sectors, even if it should not be possible. We have fixed that issue, so the sectors will be blacked out correctly. I don't know how, if this is a big issue, if it's a common issue. I don't really play a lot of GVG anymore, but I thought it was worth pointing out or mentioning it, because I do know that some of you still play it. And this sounds like it could be an annoying issue if it was common. So yeah, that has been fixed, and that's pretty much the only thing I want to mention from the changelog. So let's jump into some more interesting stuff. First of all, guild expedition. I made 2 videos earlier this week talking about it, and while we don't have any changes yet, I do quickly want to mention that the changes to level 1, 2, 3, and 4, or the rewards there, that I did mention in those videos, that was not that had not been released last week, but we now know that it will be released this week. So tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day I'm recording it, video, tomorrow we will finally see what these changes are, and we'll be able to see if, for example, they have removed or reduced the diamonds, which is something that we don't know anything about, but it's definitely something we have speculated about. So stay tuned for some more information about that, either in a standalone video this week, or if not, I will definitely cover it in this or next week's beta recap. So stay tuned for that. Wildlife event. Here we do have some quite big changes. We have some quite big nerfs, but I do think they were required. In my first impressions video, I talked about how I wanted the main building to be nerfed, and it has now indeed been nerfed. So, the Panda Shrine at max level, the forge point production has been reduced from 40, which was way too much, to a more sensible 14 to 18 forge points. That is a huge nerf, however, the building itself is still very good. And just to quickly talk about how good it is still, so with these changes, it is the 3rd best building in the game, or not in the game, but the 3rd best main event building in the game in terms of attack per tile, only behind the Phantom Tower of Conjunction from the anniversary event, which is coming up, and the fall set. And I'm talking about Space Age Super Moon values here. Of course, in lower ages there are better buildings. It is the 2nd best event building in the game in terms of forge points per tile. Now it has been lowered to 0.82 per tile, but that's still really good. And it's only behind some butterfly set layouts, which can create a lot of forge points. It is the best main event building in terms of goods per tile. And it is actually also the best one in terms of units per tile, narrowly beating the Sunflower Oil Press and the Governor's Villa there. So even with these huge nerfs here, it is still a very good building. Now, it has also been buffed slightly. They also added attack for defending army, which can be quite helpful, I suppose, in the updated guild expedition. So now you can see that in addition to attack for attacking army, it also gives attack for defending army for your city defense. So yeah, and you can also see here that the forge points has been lowered. I am in the future, so here it gives 17 forge points, which I think is more than enough, as you just saw. Alright, we do also have some changes to the other, or two of the other buildings, the Red Panda buildings, which are premium only, or you can get them in leagues as well, but practically speaking, premium only are these two buildings, so not really that important. But here, for the Himalayan fur, the number of goods has been reduced quite a lot actually, from between 5 and 20 to always 5 at level 1. And at level 2, it has been reduced from between 15 and 40 to between 10 and 15. So that's quite a big nerf. It is still quite good. It's only 2x2 this building. So 15 goods from a 2x2 building, perfectly fine. But to kind of compensate for that, they also added some attack for defending army. And we can see the same thing for the rhododendron. Here they have added defense for defending army. So if we go back in game here, the two panda buildings here, in addition to giving attack and the other one defense, they now also give attack and defense for city defense. So here you can see 6 of each in the future, and for the rhododendron, it is 16 of each in the future era. So that's the changes when it comes to the wildlife buildings. And again, even though it is a really big change, I do think it was warranted, and the main building is still really good. And I personally wouldn't have been mad if they went down even further, but in its current state, it's at least more in line with other buildings. So that's good to see. Another quick thing I want to mention, there's not been a change per se, but when it comes to balancing in the wildlife event, at the moment at least, it looks to be quite all right to get the main building fully leveled. If you play every day, so you do have to rely on producing the free ticket every 8 hours, but that's nothing new this time around. That has been like that in the previous 2 wildlife events as well. But based on that, you need to pick up just above 3 paws per game to be able to get the main building fully leveled, which is definitely possible to do. It might be a little bit challenging if you don't know what you're doing in the game, but with a bit of thought, it's definitely possible. Last year, the requirement was 2.86 paws per game, so even though it's slightly higher this year, it's still very much similar to last year, and last year it was definitely very possible to get the main building fully leveled. Personally, I am averaging, at least the last couple of years, above 4 paws per game, so yeah, I think this is a good enough buffer. And I think most people should have no problem getting the main building fully leveled if you try to do it, if you do play every day, which is required. Another interesting thing or change, last year you got a ticket from quests, I believe it was every 3rd quest or possibly every other quest. This time around, you get no tickets from the rush quests, but instead you get 1 ticket every day from the daily quests. So in the end, not really a big change in terms of the number of tickets you get, but you do get them from the daily quests instead of every other quest, which I actually think is a good thing, because that means that if you want to prepare, you can do all the rush quests at whatever pace you want, and then wait, and then when the daily special you want comes around, then you can do all the available daily quests. And that's much easier than what we did last year, where you would not do any quests. Then when the daily you wanted came, then you would do all the quests up until, or as many as you could, to get all the tickets on that day. So I like this change to move all the tickets to the daily quests instead of the rush quests. It makes it a little bit simpler, a little bit easier to play around. So I'm quite happy with that. All right, that's all I want to talk about for the current release stuff. Let's move on to the spoilers. First of all, the Pirate / Summer event. We do have some updates, as you can see here. All of these icons here have been updated, but I don't really want to talk about it because nothing really important has been updated. Just some assets has gotten a new look and so on, so nothing really too important. And instead, I will cover that in next week's video. All the changes up until now, and also whatever new comes around it this week. All right, we are almost there at the new age, but before I do, I quickly need to talk about the university/savings jar that I've mentioned in the last 2 videos. We now seem to have a better understanding of what this is, and well, let's just read it, because we actually have the full information texts that will go into the information image here. So, first one here, research. During the Forge Scholarship event, you'll gain scholarship progress with every completed research. Simply visit the research menu and spend your Forge points and goods to finish a research. Unlock scholarships. The higher your scholarship progress, the better the scholarship you'll unlock, each offering even better rewards than the one before. There are 5 scholarships to unlock in total, and you'll want to aim for the highest one possible. Purchase scholarship. Once you've unlocked a scholarship, purchasing it will give you access to its exclusive rewards. The Forge Scholarship event will end as soon as you buy a scholarship, so accumulate as much scholarship progress as possible before making your purchase. So, what on earth does all of this mean? Well, the way I interpret it is that this is kind of like a piggy bank for technologies. So I think this is something that you unlock early on when you start a new world. You will get this kind of as a side thing to the regular technologies. Then as you research technologies, you get some progress towards these scholarships here on the side. Kind of similar to how when you get the daily special in an event with a piggy bank, you get an additional reward in this piggy bank thing on the side. And then to unlock it, you have to buy it using hopefully diamonds, but perhaps even real money. At least that's how I interpret this, the purchasing stuff. We also see in the icon here, this seems to be the premium background with the shimmer and stuff. So based on this, I think this will be a premium only feature that will offer some additional rewards as you age up through the technologies. Which, I don't know, I hope it isn't. I hope there is some free-to-play stuff as well. But I think it is only premium. But that's something we'll have to see. If it is only premium, then, well, I'm not going to be that interested in it, of course. Then it doesn't sound too interesting. But I guess we'll have to see, or wait and see exactly how that will work out. I'm definitely interested to hear what you think about this, if you agree with the way I interpret this. And yeah, I think it will be similar to the path of innovation, which now that I think about it, I don't think I've talked too much about it, but the path of innovation that I mentioned a couple of, well, it's probably a couple of months ago now, actually, that has been released. It's a new thing where when you start a new world or a new account, you get this additional kind of side set of quests next to the regular story quests, where you get some additional rewards, and you can also buy some for money, an event pass for it. So I think this will be similar. It will probably be available to new players or to new worlds as you start it, and then as you age up, you will get some, or the ability to get some additional rewards there. And then, as it says here, once you have purchased it, it will be removed, I suppose. So, I don't know, I'm not really that interested anymore. Hopefully I have misinterpreted this, but I think that's all I need to talk about now. Let's move on to the interesting stuff. Let's finally go through the first images of the Space Age Titan. So, here we have a couple of Earth buildings that have been added so far. We have a decoration here, which looks quite interesting if you ask me. We have some residential buildings and a culture building. We have a production building, 2 production buildings actually, and we also have one of the synthesizers. Not quite sure which goods this is, special goods 1, so that's probably either the first Space Age Jupiter Moon good or possibly the special goods. But yeah, the synthesizer. And we have 2 military buildings. Now for the regular buildings here, I quite like the look. As usual, I tend to like the new buildings in the new ages that they're adding. I quite like the look. But the military buildings I really like. I really like the look here. I think these look really cool. And they are quite big. I believe this is 7 by 3 by 4. And this is probably 4 by 7. So quite big. But that's not unusual. We've seen that in the last couple of ages. I don't know the sizes of all of the other ones here. We can find it out if you want, but yeah. So yeah, that's the buildings on the Earth. We also have some inhabitants that will troll your streets if you allow them. So that's fun to see. Oh, and streets, of course. I quite like the red one here. I think this looks quite cool. Again, I'm not a big fan of the 1x1 road. Or, I don't mind it, it looks alright, but I don't know. I think they could be a bit more creative with the 1x1 roads, but it's fine, I suppose. Anyways, we have the special resource, which seems to be called crystallized hydrocarbon. So yeah, that's interesting. We have exploration sites, easy, medium, and large, which, combined with some other stuff we're going to see in a moment, well, to me, it kind of seemed to confirm that this will indeed be Space Age Mars version 5. I hope I'm wrong, I hope they add some new mechanics, but as of right now at least, it looks like it will be exactly the same as we had the last couple of years, just a reskin of Space Age Mars, which, well, I'm definitely tired of, so hopefully I'm proven wrong there, but I don't think so. Anyways, we have some production icons here for the goods buildings. Also, we have the goods, of course, as well. But yeah, we have some icons here for the goods in this age, and the goods buildings here that you build in the colony. So the first one here is compressed matter capsule. We have experimental data, isolated molecules, liquid binder, and upcycled hydrocarbons. And here we have some icons here for when you produce them in the space age colony. We also have some production icons for the production buildings here. And Nova here has added likely the spacecraft engine merchant and special liquid cocktail bar, which definitely makes sense if you look at the art style here. And here we have the production icons for these two. So the spacecraft engine merchant and the special liquid cocktail bar. So yeah, that's in that. Unknown DNA synthesizer, so that's probably what we have the goods building here for, or the synthesizer here for. We will of course get for the other 5 buildings as well eventually, and there will of course be more military buildings, and I wouldn't be surprised to see perhaps more decoration or culture buildings, perhaps some more residential and workshops, who knows. These might be all, but there might be more as well, and well, I'm guessing there probably will be some more premium buildings as well, perhaps, or some of these might be a premium, but yeah, probably going to have some more buildings as well going forward. And definitely buildings, more buildings in the colony. We don't have any of those yet, so it will be fun to see those when they are released. And I wouldn't be surprised if next week we have a lot more information or images as well. Anyways, achievements and Titan outposts. So we have some achievements here. Space Age Titan, Space Age Jupiter Moon. Not quite sure what these are, if these are simply completing the age. Not quite sure why this... Anyways, some achievements. Outpost symbol. So here we have the PvP tower, which, well, it looks alright, I suppose. And here we have the background for the Titan continent map. And as you can see, in terms of the art style, it's very much the same as the previous space ages, where we have the planet, we have 2 zones there, and we have some, I think, really cool art on the outside there. But yeah, still very much the same as the last couple of ages. Here we have the second part of the map, which, well, I hope the second part is here. But we saw last time that the first part was on this side and the second part on this side, which was really annoying. Anyways, we have the second part of the map. And again, I really like the art style. I really like the look of this. It looks really cool. But it is just the same. It appears at least to be just the same as last time around. So I don't know. Hopefully it's a little bit more interesting. Looks like it will be snaking around like that, so you probably have to do most of these. You might be able to do a shortcut here, and perhaps you get something interesting over here, who knows. But yeah, that's the map. And that's all we have for now, but we do finally have some stuff to talk about. So yeah, it might not be that far away. I don't know when it will be released, but I do feel like the pace of new assets that we have received has been higher than in the past years. So in the past, it has been months from when the first spoilers came around until the event or the age was released on beta. This time around, it's probably going to take some time. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a month or two, but I'm not sure if it's going to take the 4 or 5 months that we're used to seeing. So even though the age will be delayed, it might not be delayed by that much. My guess would be that it's out in perhaps late summer, early fall on the live servers, but we'll see. It might be earlier than that as well. So, definitely going to be interesting to follow this going forward. I will, of course, mention it in my regular updates, my weekly beta recaps, so stay tuned for some more information. Let's end this video by quickly talking about stackable units. So that's something that, well, it seems like it will finally come to the game. It's something that I know we have been talking about or asking for ages now. And according to Jibber, the community manager here on beta, it is something that they had been working on in the past. He wasn't quite sure, but he believed it might have been either in 2018 or 2020, but that it was put on hold. And that's because we have this image here, which is called, if we can't click on it, it's called stacked units settings, or settings stacked units, not sure which order. But yeah, this image here is for the settings for enabling stacked units. And it has been in the game for quite some time, actually. I have data back to November last year. It was available. According to Jubber, it's been available for, well, years now. But they haven't done anything with it. It's just been there, kind of in the background, not really used. But today, we had finally some new stuff that has been added. We have this bit of code here, and also a bit of code other places as well in the cache file. But this one is the most interesting. Add stack label. And, well, don't really need to go through what all of this means, but the way I read this, interpret this, is that this will generate this text here on top of the images or of units to show how many units you have. So basically, you enable stacked units in settings, and that will, well, it will stack all the units together, at least that's the assumption, and it will show you how many you have. So this will make selecting units much easier. It will probably be, well, you probably just have to click on the same spot 8 times and it will fill out your army with that one unit, and things, well, it'll definitely improve things a lot. It will make selecting units a lot faster, a lot simpler, and I'm definitely looking forward to using it. I do have one question or one slight worry, and that is how will damaged units be treated? Because, as you might have seen when I'm fighting with higher age units, for example, on the continent map, there are situations where selecting damaged units is beneficial. Mainly because the enemy will attack the damaged rogue before it hits your main units, if both are in range. So that's something that is very helpful for the continent map. Not that big of a deal other places in the game, but it is something that is worth keeping in mind. So hopefully you are still able to select damaged units without having to disable this setting and then selecting the damaged units. So that's something we'll have to see. What I would like is that they first have all the stacked units, and then perhaps after that they show all the damaged units. I think that might be a good compromise. But yeah, that's something we will have to see, of course. And I have no idea when this might come out, but it's not that big of an update, I think. Or who knows, it might be big behind the scenes, but it's not that big of a thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get this relatively early or relatively soon. But I don't know, so we will have to see. We will have to see. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about in this video, so hopefully you found all of this interesting. I definitely have. So, before I end this video, let me thank my patrons for their support. I would like to thank Homestar, Lorden, Rockanobin, Kim Kelly, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Simonot, Chanti, Merrick B, Hugo Kant von Count, Truth the Generous, Susan Weiss, Rocco, Merton Emrys, Spike from No Remorse, Plagus the Avenger, Ashborn, Henrik Glerberg, Mattia, Obsidi Obsessed, Raf, Adarel, Mike, Wolfboy, Atomic, Ruth, Plagus Belisarius, Karen, and Dennis. Thanks a lot for your support. Thanks for watching. Take care. I will see you in the future.